Trying to get as much money he can before he sacrifices his fighter.
Correct.
Like, he may know my fighter can't beat him, so I'm gonna get many fights as I can, suck all the money I can out, then feed him to the lambs and get my money from that too.
Yep.
And may take his money too, the dumb motherfucker. Oh, but I think if they don't fight, I think Joshua should fight Wilder.
Me too.
Wilder's gonna do pretty good at that one because he's not as elusive as see, it doesn't seem like a fucking Tyson is just so awkward. He's very hard to hit. It doesn't look like he's a good boxer. He's a fucking monster. He's 10 foot and he's awkward, but he's hit him. It's just hard to hit him. That's what frustrates people.
All-time great Mike Tyson believes if the Tyson-Fury fight falls through with Joshua, that Joshua should fight Deontay Wilder, not Usyk. He also thinks, like others, that Wilder would do well against Joshua, meaning that he'll beat Joshua. I never heard anybody saying a fighter does well and lose. I also believe what he says about promoters. Promoters are the reason fights are not made most of the time. They know the fighter is inferior to the next fighter, so they would bleed that fighter, get all the money they can out of that fighter, then they'll feed him to the wolf. And this is why I like Eddie Hearn. More times than not, he rolls the dice with his fighters. And not just his small-time fighters, also his big-time fighters like Joshua and Dillian White.
Yeah. I'm saying any part of that's at the top and people haven't seen me fight and people strongly want to see me fight. That's who I want to fight, Because I can see their name.
Whatever's right for Anthony Joshua.
I thought you said you can't be bothered with that anymore.
No. I said Damage Sky yesterday. Ultimately, we will make the right moves for AJ's career. But AJ's the boss. So if he wants to fight Deontay Wilder, which I know he wants to fight everybody in the division, and that fight presents itself, no problem. But
when you look at the Joshua Wilder timeline, it's very interesting. The $50 million bogus deal, the narrative that Joshua was ducking Wilder, and a lot of Wilder's fans fell for it. Joshua offered Wilder a $120 million deal. He turned that down and went to fight Fury. So he went on to fight Fury, and the part of the promotion was we were having the two best heavyweights in the world fighting, which wasn't true. But that was a narrative to sell the fight. So once Fury beat the brakes off Deontay Wilder, we thought there was no way an Anthony Joshua fight was going to be made. But then again, Anthony Joshua did say before he retires, he wants to fight Wilder. Now his promoter, Eddie Hearn, said the fight can happen in 2022. First things first, Joshua must handle business against Tyson Fury, which is going to be a 2-fight deal. That is no walk in the park. It's a 50-50 fight, and this fight's going to take over 2021. Eddie Hearn said the fight with Wilder still makes financial sense if he gets back in the ring and gets some impressive wins instead of running his mouth. I agree with Hearn. It's time for Wilder to get his eye back on the prize. You know, your fans know, everybody knows, Fury beat you fair and square, and he beat the brakes off you. The last time Wilder talked about getting back in the ring, it was January, the month Wilder was supposed to get back in the ring. Now we're in the middle of February. Former IBF champion Charles Martin was one of the potential opponents for Deontay Wilder. But reportedly, the fight negotiations were cut off because Wilder won 8 figures to fight Charles Martin. Who's gonna pay Deontay Wilder 8 figures to fight Charles Martin? He doesn't have a belt anymore. He's not undefeated. Charles Martin is currently ranked number 2 by the IBF, number 10 by the WBC, 8 by the WBA. So he's a top 10 heavyweight. So I didn't have a problem with the fight. I think Wilder is pricing himself out. Charles Martin is a top 10 heavyweight, according to the rankings. But when people talk about the top guys in the division, we're talking about Andy Ruiz, Dillian White. Wilder can make a big splash when it win over one of those guys. You can put Joseph Parker in the mix too. At the end of the day, Wilder had a chance to be undisputed heavyweight champion, and he turned it down. The fighter cherry-picked that went wrong. What Eddie Hearn is telling them is that a couple of impressive victories, we prefer guys we know, guys that are ranked, like a Ruiz, White, or Parker. If White beats Povetkin, then he's back in the picture. And then Joshua handle his business. We'll get the Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua fight, not like we wanted to, because I wanted it when they were both undefeated champions. But you know, it's hard to make fights when one guy wants to fight and one guy doesn't. Now the guy doesn't have anything. Now he wants to fight. I think before this fight happens in 2022, Wilder has to bring up his stock. People want to see if the shoulder is okay. They want to see Wilder knock somebody out. Somebody alive, not a corpse. Leave your thoughts and comments below. JBZ. Subscribe to the channel. I'm gone.